This world, it seems designed to rob you of joy because every single time something good goes on, or it doesn't even have to be something good, it's just when you have a good mindset. Whenever you have a mindset of positivity, even though your whole life has been negativity, whenever you have that mindset, you think, okay, I can do this, I can do that, let me try this, let me try that, let me do this, let me do this, and the third. Then all of a sudden something hits you out of nowhere, just suddenly and viciously, and it rampages through your life. It can be something as simple as you're in your room playing your video game or something like that, minding your business, and then your family knocks on the door, and then they tell you, Billy, your sister Sarah's getting married, and she wants you to come to her fucking her wedding ceremony or some bullshit like that. And you're just like, what? And you're forced to go, you know? And you're like, whoa. Like, I was just finally having peace and some type of mental stabilization, avoiding psychological manipulations and avoiding soul degradation. And then all of a sudden, you have to go to your sister's wedding. And it's like, you can't say no because your father, yeah, you're going to go, blah, 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 because you ain't got a job and you ain't working and you ain't doing this and blah, blah, blah. So you're going to go to your damn sister's wedding. And you're just like, wow. So you get forced into a situation that you already know is going to be toxic. You get forced back into a situation where you already know that it's going to be problems again. It's going to be old wounds opening up just to cut you even deeper this time. It's going to be more mental and psychological manipulations this time. It's going to be even more problems, more drama, and more crap. And that's anything in life. It's like, let's say you're trying to, because I'm talking to this one guy who say he watched my videos and he's talking about he's trying to get his CDL. And he wants to be a truck driver. And he said every single time he tries to save up money or whatever to take the classes or whatever, because for some reason he can't find any free classes or whatever, because I guess his driving background was not the best, or whatever, but he got it cleared up. But still, certain companies are not going to pay for that, and he has to find companies that he has to pay for it himself. And every time he tries to save up money, his baby mama be tripping. And he's like, it's something. He's like, bro, when you talk about the archons and the demiurge, he's like, there's something to that. Because every time you try to build something that's positive that can make your life more easier, things come into your life to make your life more harder and more challenging, just to pull your energy and your frequency back down to that lower vibration. And I was like, yeah, bro, this has been talked about for the Gnostics for thousands of years. This is why they were wiped out. It's why very few people even know the term Gnosticism. They don't even know what a demiurge is. They never heard of Yaldabaoth. They never heard of this, because the God of this realm is not what you think. I know it's hard to believe, because a lot of us, hell, bro, I was a Christian zealot. I was one of the most religious people ever, and I still believe there's a true God out there. But the God that we've been told about is just not the true God. This is an evil, petty, cruel ruler. Look at the world. You see beauty and you see pain. Isn't that an oxymoron? When you can see a beautiful forest, and then a damn werewolf or a Bigfoot or a skinwalker or some type of evil creature will come out from the depths and snatch somebody out their tent. And then the damn park ranger say, nothing to see here. You know what I mean? Then the CIA and the FBI got classified weapons and all types of ammunitions and weapon systems. And they can manipulate the weather and they can manipulate your thoughts with MK Ultra shit, And just talk about regular things like a grizzly bear. A grizzly bear can come eat you on a hike. Even though you're in a beautiful national park, you can walk into a mother grizzly bear. She can literally tear you open and devour you. What God would create you in the world, knowing that you're flesh and knowing that you're fragile and knowing that you're weak and knowing that you got emotions, will make it so that these entities and these beings can devour you and eat you and you can feel pain. Why would God create pain sensors for us to feel? Why would God give us emotions, knowing that our emotions can be manipulated and we can feel pain that can put scars on our soul permanently? It doesn't make any sense. And in this world, every single time you try to take one step forward, the world makes you take 10 steps back. Whatever you do, And a lot of people have been emailing me, telling me, man, your videos have been helping me out, man. Like, how are you doing this when you're fucking homeless? You know what I mean? Like, you going from place to place to place, And it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just that I understand, like, the reason why I talk about Stalingrad a lot is because that was what Stalingrad determined World War II, point blank period. If the Fuhrer would have won the Eastern Front, Germany would have won the war eventually. Because what people don't know is that those scientists that helped America build those nuclear bombs, Nazi Germany actually had secret little classified bases in the mountains and around places where they were working on that nuclear technology as well, and they were very close, to developing nuclear weapons first. It's why, what's his name, von Braun, when they did Operation Paperclip, they got him, and then, they started developing nuclear weapons right after that, or in between that. Now that von Braun was after the war, right? But you got to understand that the powers that be, you know, they control both sides of the war. So yeah, America technically developed the nuclear bomb before the Germans, of course, right? They technically developed that, but they don't tell you that in America they had Nazi Germany camps. It was like a big Nazi German base in California. Look up what I'm saying. When I tell you something, don't just take my word for it. Google Nazi German base in California during World War II. Google what I'm saying. Don't just take just because somebody say something, don't just take what they're saying for face value. You Google, you check what I'm saying. You see if I'm speaking facts or I'm just talking out my ass. You understand? So there was already low-key Nazis already in America, and the Americans knew that. You know what I mean? Let's think about those days, Everybody had the same type of mindset the Führer had. It's just that the Jays controlled the wars. They controlled both sides. Yeah? But what I'm saying is that this world is very deceptive. And there's so many things in this world that can go wrong, and they often do. And whenever you try to get your mind right, you try to get your grind tight, you try to focus on things and objectives, life has a tendency and it has a voracious appetite to pull you into pain and agony. There's so much crap in this world that goes wrong. There's so many things in this world that breaks your mind and breaks your soul and breaks your spirit. And you just have to keep on going. And it's like, nothing's worse than dealing with toxic people. People are going to be your main problems in this world. You're going to be dealing with toxic coworkers, toxic bosses, toxic family, toxic, people that are related or people that are friends with your family. You're going to be dealing with, your toxic brother, your toxic sister, your toxic uncle, your toxic, aunt, your toxic, whoever it is, even if you have a lot of friends, you're going to be dealing with the toxicity. And it's going to keep on going and going and going and going and going. You're going to be like, God damn, why is it every single day there's always problems, there's always crap, there's always a new type of problem coming up in this life? One thing you're guaranteed in this life, or three things, you're guaranteed to keep on going through even worse situations. You're guaranteed to pay taxes, and you're guaranteed that one day you're going to close your eyes and they'll never open again. At least not in this dimension or realm. Maybe in another one that's going to be even more horrific than this, Or maybe you're going to be soul snatched and harvested again and mind wiped, Have you guys ever had amnesia? You know what I mean? What I mean by that is, like, you ever place your Xbox wire or your Xbox controller somewhere? You know what I mean? Like, if you have a wireless one or whatever, and where the hell did I do with it? Like, I just had it in my damn hand. Like your mind's thinking about multiple things at once. You're like, what did I do with it? Or you misplaced the controller, or you put something small down and you forgot it. You're like, what the fuck? That's a small version of mind wiping right there, And have you ever had deja vu? We like, I've done this before. When I was younger, I used to have deja vu a lot. Where one instance I remember is when I first got Pokemon. I think it was Pokemon Yellow. And I remember playing it, and I'm thinking, what the hell? Like, I think when I got to the second or third gym, and I remember, I think it was that trainer Misty. That girl Misty. I think she's the water trainer with Starmie, whatever. I think when I got to her, I don't know if that's the second gym or third gym, whatever. One of those early gyms in the game. And I remember playing it then. I was like, I feel like I already done this before. It was a weird feeling because back in those days, Pokemon was a brand new game, And then I had those moments throughout my life where I feel like I've done this before. I feel like I've been here before, but this is my first time doing it. So there's something to that, man. We live in some type of complex spiritual structure. We live in some type of complex spiritual prison because a true loving God will want us to gain knowledge and wisdom. You know the story of the Tower of Babel. Why did that God make sure that humans don't come together? And then he says, if these humans come together, there's nothing that they can't do that they set their mind to. A good, loving, caring God would allow you to gain knowledge, would allow you to gain wisdom. Why would a God put a tree of knowledge there and tell you not to eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge and shit? Wouldn't a God encourage you to gain knowledge and wisdom, because knowledge is power? It's almost like this God understands we have a divine spark in us that doesn't come from him, because you got to know the story of Sophia and the fall of her. You got to know the story of how this being came into existence. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds metaphysical. It sounds like, yeah, right, that stuff doesn't happen. And you could be right or you could be wrong. But I know for a fact, whatever designed this and created this didn't create this with love and kindness and compassion in mind. Because why do you have pain receptors? Why do you get to feel pain? Wouldn't a good God make sure you feel no pain, no emotional pain, no physical pain? Pain doesn't make you fucking stronger. You have to get stronger because you have no choice on the battlefield. That's how you get. That's why you're forced to get stronger. You know, and look at people who are not strong, quote unquote. There's people that I know that never worked a job in their life and they're millionaires. That's like moist, critical, ping ones, you know. There's people that never had a regular job. You know, the person I look up to the most, you know, Nick Mara. You know, I always gonna mix Nick Mara. That's my sensei. I learned how to pretty much make beats from him, you know. And Nick Mara never worked a regular job, but he's still successful, still happy, and still productive. And he's more emotionally stable than I am. So you don't have to go through pain and stuff in life that makes you emotionally destroyed. There's people that don't go through anything in life and they're still healthy individuals. And there's people that go through things in life that get fucked over because their whole life has been one big complex emotional sewage. It's always something, man. Whenever you try to find some peace in this world, whenever you try to find some happiness, there's always something that's going to pull you back to the same fucking daggers that's been stabbing you in the back, that's been stabbing you in the heart, that's been stabbing you apart, that's been ripping you on the inside. It always goes this way. All I ever wanted in my life was to do what I love for a living and have peace. I'm so angry that my grandma never seen me become successful. If my grandma found out that I was homeless right now, she would be losing her mind. She would, man, you know, honestly, you know, you know, and it sucks. I think I made a video about this where I talk about how people that you once knew never really seen you become successful, and then they pass away, and they never seen you become successful. They never seen you become anything great or anything good. And the entire time you could have been, how come that God didn't help me when I am clearly talented? All I needed to know was the right people. So why didn't that God help me? It's like he wanted me to suffer just because so he can feed all my loose energy. You got to understand, different people have different types of souls and spirits, meaning that some people have a more pure soul, a more good soul. So they're going to go through a lot of shit in life so they can get that loose harvesting farm. You know, so they can get their loose harvested by the spiritual farm. It's deep when you understand that the God of this world only put us in these bodies so we can experience pain. The whole purpose of life is torment. The purpose of life is for you to experience pain and torment. That's why you have all this stuff. Are there good things in life? Of course, because if it was just constant pain and agony for like a lot of people every single day, then people will start to wake up even quicker and say, hey, something's wrong, you know? And a lot of people have, but you got to understand, the vast majority of Americans especially, they still live in la-la land. Because most Americans, you know, they're either in middle class or high class or whatever, and they still go to the 9 to 5, think they can live that American dream. So most of them are helping sustain the same system that's imprisoned them. It's the same thing as praying to a God who's made your life a living hell your entire life and thinking that he's going to just magically bless you one day and be a millionaire and have the girl of your dreams and a Ferrari and a Bentley and a Lamborghini and a boat and a yacht. You know, that's not going to happen. You know, if you want to know the future, understand the preliminary things that happened in the past and the preliminary structures that were integrated and set in place. If the implementation of negativity has always been your life, then that's what it's going to be for a while. You have to really try to break out this system, and the system's designed to keep you trapped like a lab rat inside a secret lab. It's absolutely brutal, but it's absolutely the truth.